You're watching the Capri Renee. I talk about life, business, and everything we're trying to figure out in real time. So today we're going to talk a little bit about being a vendor at a market. And I have my notes. I have been doing markets for the last 6 years. I've had some great ones, some okay ones, and some ones where I was just like, I'm ready to go. Why am I here? So let's talk about the top 7 things that I think you should think about or question or bring to the forefront of your mind in 2026 before you hit that register button. Let's start with the most obvious one, the vendor fee. This is an entry ticket into the event. This does not include anything but your very existence at this event. You still have inventory, packaging, displays, travel, lodging, all of that you have to account for. So if the event was like $75, but it's going to cost you $600 to be there, you have to know this. You have to make sure you understand that that's what this is going to be. This has to be accounted for in your budget. So aesthetic is nice. I love aesthetic. I love me a good flyer, but who's going to be at this event? That's what I want to know. Who is your target audience that you're trying to bring to this event? You need to know whether the crowd will be geared more towards families, luxury shoppers, church goers, college students, because all of these crowds, they shop differently. Just because the crowd is packed, that doesn't mean that those are your people. You don't need everybody. You just need the right somebodies. The next thing you should consider is making sure you ask about the marketing, the promotion. How will the vendor, the host of this event, how will they be marketing this event to get the people out? How will they let the people know? If they say, oh, we're just going to post on social media, honey, posting on social media is not marketing. It is a tool that you can use for marketing, but just writing a post, that's not marketing. Just dropping a picture, dropping a flyer here and there, that's not marketing. That's posting. Some event hosts will ask you to post as well to help them get the word out, and that's fine. I have absolutely no problem because I'm going to always let my people know what's going on with my business, where they can find me if they are in the area. The problem that I have is when event hosts make it our job to market their event. But I believe that if you are charging me, well, I don't care if it's $25, I don't care if it's $125, that amount that you are charging me as a vendor to attend your event should include the marketing that you should be doing. I don't care if you run 1 ad or 2 ads. You should be running ads, having email lists. They should be doing something other than just posting. But in addition to posting on their social media, another thing you want to ask them is, hey, when you do post on social media, will you be tagging the businesses that have registered that will be there? Because that helps their audience see you. The audience can come over and look at your social media and visit your websites to kind of get an idea of what to expect when they come. So it's important that you ask not only if they will be marketing, but how, what are the modes, and will they be including you as the vendor in the social media post? And I'll just say one more thing, go find their social media pages. Look into their previous events. Ask them how long they've been doing this. And I'm going to say if someone is doing an event for the very first time, now look, I am not opposed to I'm not opposed to registering at an event for someone who's just starting out, as long as for the most part, they have their ish together, right? Because no matter how new you are, if this is something that you're taking on, I would like to know that I would like to believe that you've taken some time to research and you kind of know the basics, right? However, if they are hosting an event for the very first time and their vendor fee is astronomical, that to me is a red flag. That is also a deal breaker for me. Let's move on. Location and setup is important. It's important that you understand how much energy you will have to spend getting your booth set up, whether it's indoor or outdoor. Especially if it's outdoor, you're talking tents, weights. A lot of times you can't park where you are actually set up, or you might be able to get close enough. It just depends. You're talking a lot of work here. Usually a lot of walking, and especially if you're using a tent, there's a lot of outdoor events during the summertime. So you're talking all of this while you're actually fighting and battling the elements of the weather, right? Then let's talk about if you're outdoors, you have to make sure that you have preparation for things like rain and wind and stuff like that. Know what your load in times, logistics are. Know what the load out times are and what the load out rules are. Because some people will say, hey, you have to stay through the entire event. They don't care how slow it is, how dead it is. You have to stay through the entire event, and you have to be out of here by X, Y, and Z. You need to know these things before you head to these events, because you have to create a strategy for your products and your tents and all of your supplies and stuff and your equipment, so you're able to set up and break down in a timely manner. This is something that I've repeatedly seen on social media posts. I've seen in the comments. I've seen in Facebook groups. How many products should I bring? Let me be clear. Bringing more inventory does not automatically mean more sales. You should know your price point, your best sellers, and what you have that's like easy to grab items. You want to make sure you have a mixture of them. There's no set rule or a fact about how many products, how much inventory you should bring. And you know, if you sell out, I'm happy for you. I'm the first to clap for you. But typically people don't sell out of all of their products. That's not a normal thing. That happens. I've seen people say it happened, but that is not that's not normal. Just bring, like I said, your best sellers, easy to grab items, and understand, just know your price point. Because if you're trying to make money at an event, if you have lower cost items and the majority of your products are lower cost items, but you've paid X amount of dollars to be at this event, that's not including the vendor fee. I'm talking the vendor fee, gas, all of that. You have to recoup all of that first before you can say you profited from this event. So you want to keep that in mind. Make sure you bring different price points. You know, you might have your $3 to $5 or $3 to $10 over here, and then you have your $25 and more over here. Make sure you have, you know, variety with your price points, because you want to, the purpose, let's be for real, is to make money. You have worked this hard to create this inventory. You want to sell it, but you want to make a profit. If you paid $600 to be in an event, but you only made $400, that's not profit. You are in the red. And that segues into have a goal. I'll be honest with you. I have never set a monetary goal, a sales goal at an event until my very last event in 2025. That's the first time, and I'm going into my 7th year of business. I've set goals, but not not sales goals. Sometimes goals can be things like you want to network with a certain amount of people. You want to, you know, get your email list up. You want to test some products. You want to get some content. That sounds crazy to some people, but it's a reality. I guess you could say my sales goals was always to make more than what I actually put into the market. That was always my sales goal. But this last year was the very first time I said, I'm going to set a sales goal. It was last minute, and I ended up making right under my sales goal. So I was like $20 short of my sales goal. And honestly, I just threw a number out there. But I actually profited. It wasn't me just making the money back from the event. I profited from this. So set a goal. This part doesn't get said enough. And I'm going to tell you before I move into number 7, the final point, if you will. I wish this would have been on my mind in 2023. 2024. I went ham on market. So much so that I literally paid for it pretty much the duration of 2025, physically and emotionally. If you are burned out, stretched thin, behind on orders, a market may not be the best move for you or your business. And I'm going to say for you, not your business, for you. Probably your business too. Because let's be real. The things that happen in our personal lives, you are one person running a business, and that is no small feat, right? Everything that you have to deal with in your personal life, that includes lack of sleep, whatever, it directly affects your business. So if you're already struggling in your business to keep your head above water, not talking about sales, I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about, like I said, like you're behind on orders, you're stressed, you got so many deadlines to meet, and maybe you do have a full-time job, you may have a family, you have to tack all of that stuff and consider all of those things. Maybe a market is not the move. Maybe a market every month is not the move, or every week. Some people do them every weekend. God bless y'all, because I can't. I would say in 2024, I burned myself to the ground all the way until the end of the year. And you start getting your holiday orders in August, September, and then they just keep coming in on top of your normal regular orders. And I was steadily doing events, steadily doing taking custom orders and doing holiday orders and fulfilling orders on my website, working full time and doing this. And I did my last event, I believe, like the first week of December in 2024. When I tell you I was done for after that, I didn't want to look at another computer screen. I didn't want to look at another packaging slip, packaging bag. I didn't want to look at a tent. I sold my tent after that. I'm going to get another one. That's not why I sold it, but I'm just saying. Sometimes the smartest business decision is just sitting it out or backing away. Because I had this goal, we put our goals out there at the beginning of the year, and I'm like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get exposure for my business. I'm going to, get more, network more. I'm going to build my email list. I'm going to, I want these people to remember that, my business. So when I come back the following year, they have a familiar face. And while all of that is nice, at the end of the day, I was depleted. I didn't want to do anything else. And so in 2025, I can't remember off the top of my head how many events I did in 2025. I did nowhere near the amount of events in 2025 that I did in 2024. And I will never do that again, at least not when I'm working full time. And I'm also trying to launch another business, which y'all can judge me all you want to. I'm still doing it. I don't care. I had to learn the hard way. I just had to learn the hard way. I had to burn myself to the ground. So I'm just here to share my experiences as a small business owner. And that means the good, the bad, the challenging, and even the things that we forget about because we were so excited. You know what I'm saying? Because to be honest, it has taken me some years to really understand and be able to vet and actually be choosy about the events that I choose to invest my time and my money into. Because let's be honest, it's expensive. It's expensive. It's more than just a vendor fee. I'm not into just doing an event just because it's an event. It's an investment. It is another stream of income. And you just have to treat it that way. As I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm thinking of another video that I would like to do. I can't exactly say when I'm going to get it done and get it up, but I'm going to bring it to kind of bring this into maybe like a little mini series on being a vendor at market. Just consider this episode 1 of this series that I have no idea what I'm going to name until I finish editing this video and get it up. We'll see together. Hey, if you are a small business owner, you've ever done a market, drop down in the comments and let me know some things that you wish you would have known before you started doing market. That way you can share your experience with other people who may see your comment. Bye.